or the caterpillar. I'm forgetting his name right now.
Heimlich. How can you ever forget Heimlich? You disrespectful idiot. Welcome everyone to a brand new Sweet Film Podcast. Today we are talking Pixar films. It's early in Arizona. It's 8 o'clock here. I've cleaned up some shit. I've shit myself, and I'm ready to talk some Pixar films. And we got some important guests today, but of course we're going to get right to my co-host, Cody. How are you doing today? Have you cleaned up any shit today?
I didn't clean some up, but I did end up going to the bathroom earlier this morning. And what I'll say now is, first of all, putting all poop-related humor aside, guys, just as a reminder, when it comes to all the Sweet Film Podcast stuff, you can not only find it here on YouTube, you can also find it on SoundCloud and iTunes, so be sure to check that out.
Or don't.
Or don't. But you know what? That's besides the point, because we got a really, really special guest with us today. You guys may know Ryan O'Toole. Creator of Rotten or Fresh. You know what? We got his co-creator and, his brother. We got Mr. Cody O'Toole here with us today. Cody, how are you doing?
Gentlemen and everybody watching, how's everyone doing? Thank you guys so much for inviting me to do this. Pixar's my thing. Animation's my thing. So this is right up my alley. When you guys told me to do this, I jumped up and down for a few minutes. Then I shit after that.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't shat today, but maybe later on. We'll see. No, but I'm excited to do this, guys. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for joining us. I mean, so the reason we picked Cody is because he's a huge animation guy. Even though he's never seen any Star Wars films or Indiana Jones, maybe he has now. Have you seen Indiana Jones now?
Let's keep talking.
Okay. so Cody's a big animation buff. So we were like, this is perfect. I'm not going to shit on him for seeing those films. This isn't a podcast about Star Wars today or Indiana Jones. No, we're talking Pixar films. And Pixar is just like you. Animation's probably, it always switches. It's either horror or animation for my favorite category of films. And even when I watch the Schmodown, that's my favorite category because I always get them right.
Yep. About 50% of the time I get those right too.
Yeah. So animation's a big thing. And I grew up on Pixar. Toy Story 3 is one of my favorite films of all time. It's sitting right behind me. And Toy Story is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. I grew up, I still have my Buzz and Woody from when I was growing up with that. I constantly watched the first one. I even broke my VHS from when I was younger. So you can say I liked Pixar films and just Pixar films in general. And I would say almost each and every, they have a couple masterpieces on their hands. That's how good Pixar is. And that's why we're just going to go down their docket, talk about each and every one of their films, some in depth, some not, some we're going to rant about, and some we're going to shit on, just like I got shit on this morning. And that's just how that goes, guys. But of course, we're also doing this because we're leading it up to The Incredibles 2. The Incredibles 2 comes out this weekend. I have seen it. We will talk about our discussions on that. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it is fucking incredible. So I think we should start back at 1995, guys, where the first Toy Story came out. You guys good with that?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
Sweet.
The one that started it all.
Let's start with, now there's two Codys in this podcast. So how should I So I will go Cody, number one, is the good one who's seen the Star Wars films. And Cody, number two, is the one who hasn't seen the Star Wars films. So, Cody, number two. What's your thoughts on Toy Story? Are you a fan of this? Did you see it in theaters? What's up with this film for you?
So I did not see this one in theaters. This came out in 1995, if I'm not mistaken. So I was one. So no, I didn't see it in theaters, but I definitely have seen it multiple times. And I think the one word that most of us can probably agree with, it's a classic. It's
100%.
A great movie. It started everything off with a bang. And I really question, where would Pixar be today if this movie wasn't good? Like, that's just the one thing I always think about. I'm sure they would still make incredible movies, but this movie just started it off with incredible things going on, both animation-wise. This movie's really funny, too. I rewatched it, like, relatively recently, and, like, I was still cracking up. Like, it's just an incredible, lots of beautiful moments, and you get introduced to Woody and Buzz, like you talked about as well. So it's a great movie.
Well, it's funny. Do you guys know how Pixar started?
I think I probably should know this, but go ahead.
So they actually used to be like a computer company, and something with Steve Jobs. I think he was the one that told them, like, hey, if you guys have these stories, make them. So yeah, Steve Jobs had a lot of hands in helping them make the first film, I know, and just getting them started. So it's a really cool, like, interesting history in there. I probably should have looked it up more because it's been a while since I read up on it. But it is a really cool thing on what they've done and how they've, like, done it. Plus, it's awesome because if you guys really look at it, like, the amount of, like, Oscars and Rotten Tomatoes scores on half their films are, like, incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you are right on that. Toy Story 1 is a classic. What about you, Cody number 1? What do you think about this?
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with you guys. Toy Story 1, it is a classic. It is a masterpiece. Honestly, Pixar did what every great studio or director or actor or people who want to get into the spotlight need to do. They started off, they had a story they wanted to tell, and they hit it off with a huge bang. And I think Cody O'Toole is right. I don't think that Pixar really would have been the same if Toy Story hadn't been as great as it was. And I mean, not to mention the voice cast. You have Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear, and you have Tom Hanks as Woody. Honestly, I don't know for you guys, but I'm pretty sure that Toy Story is the first time. I didn't know it was him at the time, but Toy Story was the first time I'd ever watched anything with Tom Hanks, either on screen or behind the camera doing a voice. And yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it to the extent that Zach did, but certainly I watched Toy Story quite a lot when I was a kid. The only thing that I will say for the first Toy Story now, I mean, it is still
if you shit on it, I'm going to scream at you. If you shit on it, I'm going to scream on you.
No. This is just one thing, and it's very rare for this to happen in films.
Where are you going with this?
The visuals and CGI for Toy Story, they do seem just a tiny bit dated, considering the film came out over 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, so
that's not a negative on the
Blanca, but
yeah, I know. I mean, that's not necessarily a negative. The film is still great. I'm just saying it's still a little dated. And let's be honest, one of my favorite parts about the first Toy Story is, as far as I know now, it's one of the first kids' films that came out during the 1990s or during that time period that actually supplemented jokes that would go over kids' heads, but adults would love.
And that's why the film still works today. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge Toy Story fan. Like, I literally have all the OG toys sitting in my closet. Sorry, guys. And I love it, dude. Like, I literally love Toy Story. Like, I am obsessed with Toy Story. I buy a bunch of Toy Story shit. I have a ton of Toy Story shirts. I'm a fucking Toy Story fanatic. And I think one of the big things that we haven't talked about with Toy Story yet is the score.
Yes.
The score is great. I mean, my ringtone used to be "You've Got a Friend in Me," so it's fantastic. But I want to move on to 1998. That's where we get A Bug's Life. Now, this is actually my sister's favorite Pixar film. I don't know about you guys. Curtis, what are your thoughts on Bug's Life?
Bug's Life, I really enjoy. Look, it's not in my top tier of my all-time favorite Pixar films. I still think the film is. I still think the film is good. I think it's a good, enjoyable film that I can watch from time to time. I will say, for me, the best part about the film has got to be, I believe it was Kevin Spacey. Yeah, Kevin Spacey.
You mean,
is Hopper.
No, Christopher Plummer.
No, I knew it.
What? Look, no, we don't mention that name on this podcast.
Okay, you know what? Fine, no, Christopher Plummer,
man.
You know what? Christopher Plummer as Hopper. He was great. But honestly, Hopper is one of my all-time favorite film villains in general. I mean, and
Kevin Spacey's one of mine too, so.
I mean, Hopper is one of my all-time favorite villains, and in my opinion, it's the reason why the film works the most.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
The the rest of the film, my two favorite segments of the film are everything to deal with Hopper and when Flick goes to the circus. Those are my two favorite
butterfly.
Candy corn.
Dude, Heimlich, let's say he is like one of the best bugs ever made in any animation.
That's what I'll say. I'll say that A Bug's Life, I think it's a good film. I don't think it's one of Pixar's best, though.
See, but there's a lot of people I know that think this is like one of their best, and I'm like, really? Really? I like it. Like, this is enjoyable. I probably haven't watched it in years though, but
Same.
I still enjoy it. What about you, Cody? What do you think about Bug's Life? Like, is this something that you love?
You guys should rewatch it as soon as you can. I find this highly, highly underrated.
Really? Wow.
I really do. I really do. Funny enough, this was when I was a kid. This was one of the most like rewatchable films. I constantly watched.
No, and I agree with you.
Out of this movie.
It was a rewatchable film for me too. And this is like the film my sister grew up with watching in Pixar films. So I think that's the best thing about Pixar is that each film hits someone different. Yep. Depending on how old you are. So, like, I know tons of people who think Monsters, Inc. is amazing. That might be because they rewatched Monsters, Inc. a ton when they were a kid. Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, like Toy Story was mine. It's insane to see that. But no, I do agree with you on Bug's Life. I mean, just the cast for Bug's Life is great. Who's your favorite character in Bug's Life?
Hopper definitely is up there, but I'm going Flick. I find Flick a very underrated character in the whole Pixar world. Just, he goes out, he wants to go for his colony, he wants to do anything for his colony. He brings back circus bugs, and he thought it was something different. But, I just love Flick as a character. Really do.
What about you, Curtis? What do you think about what's your favorite character from this?
I think my favorite character has got to be Hopper. I'm a big villain. I'm a big villain guy. I really, really think Hopper is an underrated villain that not a lot of people talk about. And I really, really enjoyed him. But another one of my favorite characters was one who was voiced by David Hyde Pierce, which if you guys have never seen the show Frasier, you really, really should check that out. It's just one of the funniest things out there. But he was the walking stick in Bug's Life. And I mean, yeah, or the caterpillar. I'm forgetting his name right now.
Heimlich. How can you ever forget Heimlich? You disrespectful. I'm just joking. But for me, like my favorite's Dot. I die. Dot or Tuck and Roll.
I like the two twins. Also,
Tuck and Roll. Yeah. They're all great. Like, I love like all those. But guys, moving on to the next year. Do you guys know what came out? It was a film that almost went to VOD until Disney's like, this is way too good for VOD. It's Toy Story 2.
So
fun fact right there.
I did hear about that. Yeah.
I like this film. I think it's the weakest out of all the Toy Story films. But it's still like it's almost a perfect film still.
Yeah,
and that's funny. I don't know why. This is a film that never stuck with me. This is actually one of the first films I saw in theaters that I do remember going to see. This film, Jimmy Neutron, and Monsters Inc. were the first three films I do remember going to the theater and seeing. And Toy Story 2, I love this film. Even though it's not one of my favorite Toy Story films or Pixar films, I love it. The emotional plot line with Jessie is incredible.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
Bullseye, adding those characters in, that was very smart to add in more characters, kind of take a different development, how the first Toy Story really focused on Buzz and how this one really focuses on Woody, giving Tom Hanks that more development. And this is, I think, one of the first films that really shows that a voice actor can do a lot of emotional stuff in the Toy Story franchise. Like, even though it's just your voice, it doesn't matter. The voice is a big part of the character. And out of all the new characters, I love Jessie. I love Jessie. I love her spunk and everything that she has going on in there. And it's just great. And these films are great. What about you, Curtis? What are you thinking about Toy Story 2?
Toy Story 2, I'm not going to lie. This was, when I was younger, this was one of the films that I rewatched the most of when it comes to Pixar. But I just rewatched this film a couple of days ago, and what I'll say is, originally I thought this is my all-time favorite Toy Story movie. Not so much anymore. I do think it's a masterpiece of a film. It really is. And I agree, Jessie is one of the biggest parts of this film. My only issue that I really have with Toy Story 2 is with all the new additions that we have with the characters from Woody's past, the only character that really stood out to me, like I love the Prospector and Bullseye.
Thank you, Pete.
With Jesse, with Jesse added in here, I honestly felt that she overshadowed the other characters that they were trying to add in, and she was really the only one that stuck out for me. And it kind of,
yeah, that is very true, though.
I mean, it's really the only issue I have with it. Like all the story we have with Buzz and the other toys trying to rescue Woody.
I love that stuff.
I mean, it's great. But yeah, like I said, the only issue I really have with Toy Story 2 is I felt that they tried to add too many characters too quickly. The only one that stuck out was Jessie. I think they probably should have just stuck with her.
Yeah, that's true. But also they brought in Wheezy. I love Wheezy.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
So what about you, Cody? Like, do you think this is better than the first one?
I don't think that, but I am with Cody in saying that I watched this Toy Story more than the first one as a kid growing up, interestingly
Buzz,
enough.
I am your father.
Yeah.
That was a great... I love that stuff. Cody, do you know that's from?
It's from Star Wars.
Oh my God! Give him a round of applause right there.
Thank you so much, Nick. I've already been spoiled with Star Wars. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna
6 times. He's dead at the end. Sorry.
I do want to tag along with the Jessie backstory. That's one of my favorite sequences. Just that whole backstory and the whole Pixar world. Emotion
right in there.
Beautiful. But I would make the argument. I don't know if you guys would agree with me that this Toy Story 2 might be the best adventure we go on in the Toy Story world. Just thinking about it, I know the Toy Story 3 is great.
I gotta think about that.
Goes on, but just Alice Toy Barn, that whole side thing that goes on. You know, Alice steals Woody and does his own thing. Then they go to an airport at one point and have a fight.
You know what?
And they leave Andy's room too.
I will agree with you on that because Toy Story 3, I don't think is more of an adventure film. Because that's the great thing again about all these films is that each of them are kind of a different kind of genre. Like this one is a very much an adventure film. The third one's more of like a heist breakout film. Right. Yeah, like and then the first one's kind of just a horror film. You really think about it, it's a horror film with Sid. So I think that's a good thing. It's kind of how like Marvel does their films. They kind of do different genres. At least lately they've been doing different genres. Right. And that's a really cool thing. But yeah, really fast before we move on, who's your favorite Toy Story 2 character? I wish I would have done this in the first Toy Story. I'm gonna ask you guys for each of the films. What's your favorite Toy Story 2 character?
100% Jessie.
Jesse?
100%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I agree with you guys on Jesse. I have to give a slight nod because I love Wheezy. And then if you guys are wondering between Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, who's my favorite, Buzz Lightyear's always been my favorite. What about you guys?
And
Woody and Buzz.
Evil clone Buzz Lightyear.
Oh my God, that was great.
I had both toys growing up, but I have a soft spot for Woody. So
okay, what about you, Cody or Curtis?
For the new additions in Toy Story 2, it's definitely Jessie. But as far as the characters go, I've always been a Buzz Lightyear guy.
Okay, cool. So guys, moving. What?
Oh, one thing that we should mention is the thing that seems to happen at the end of these Pixar films. At least I know it happens.
The bloopers.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God! Bring this shit back.
Yeah.
How many films did it? Because I know Toy Story 2, Bugs Life, Monsters Inc. Did Finding Nemo have it?
Yes.
It did?
Actually, no. You know what? I don't think so. It did.
Yeah, I think those are the only 3 films that did it. And I was like, this is great. I love that's one of my favorite parts about Bugs Life. Great thing bringing that up.
And Bugs Life. Let's not forget the little shorts that they put at the beginning of the films, which is a staple. The old men playing chess is one of my all-time favorites.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and I'll give a slight nod. Incredibles 2, the new short, is fantastic. I'm not gonna say what it is. I don't want to go into it if people don't know, but it's adorable. It's a little freaky, but it's adorable. It's one of the best ones they've had in years. I think it's the best one since that lava one. I don't know which one that one was part of. I think it was Inside Out. No, the I Lava You was Moana. I thought that was Inside Out.
I believe it was. No way. Moana was Disney. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
It was Inside Out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember when Inside Out came out, I was like, "Holy shit!" Going on to 2001, the scariest of them all, Monster Inc.
Yes.
Comes out. Pete Docter directs it, and I think Pete Docter is actually probably the best director. on board at Pixar. He's probably going to take over John Lasseter. I think he deserves it. I know there's another girl that I'm forgetting her name, but she's also up for it, and she would be very well too. But Monsters Inc. I love this film. It's so cute. And I love Sully. I love Boo. All the monsters, all the worlds they bring in. It is again a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece. Like, there's not one thing I can look at and say there's nothing wrong with it. And George Sanderson, I'm so sorry that you get abducted every time they say 2319.
2319.
I always throw at work when I work in retail. I always throw socks at people and yell 2319. 2319. But yeah, I love Monsters Inc. It's so great. It's so great.
I mean, I'll start with this one if you guys want. We'll talk about. I think the one thing that stands out in this movie for me is the relationship with Boo and Sully. Absolutely is just fantastic. You just look at those two and just like the end scene in particular when Sully has to say goodbye to Boo. That just that gets me every time. I also think this is one of Pixar's most original films. Like, just
I agree.
Yes,
I haven't seen anything like
cried while watching a Pixar film.
Oh, multiple. Yeah, last night I cried at a movie
all the time.
Yeah,
Cars 3.
No, not Cars 3. We'll get to which one it was.
Okay. But yeah, no, I agree. Like, these films, I think these were the first films that actually brought emotions to me as a kid. Because I used to just be like, ha, 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 this is funny. Like, if I watched Shrek, I was like, ha, 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 this is funny. Yeah. And it's like, no, the Monsters, Inc. and that ending. I love the ending when he opens the door. The ending is fantastic. And it's a perfect ending right there, too. His relationship with Boo is great.
Yes.
It is.
100%.
What do you think about this, Curtis?
There isn't a single thing I have wrong with Monsters Incorporated. Now, when I was younger, there were 3 specific Pixar films that I watched on repeat: Toy Story, The Incredibles, and Monsters Incorporated.
See, for me, it was always porn, but
Monsters Incorporated. Yeah, not me. Monsters Incorporated was the Pixar film I believe that I watched the most of. I mean, it's the story that I love the most. And honestly, even if they didn't, they definitely had bloopers at the end of Monsters Incorporated. Yeah. And they're some of my favorites.
They had a Rex in one of them.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, once again, bringing up great original story, great emotion, also a really, really great villain in Randall. Randall is one of my all-time favorite Pixar villains, although I'm probably going to say that with every Pixar movie because
he's
unlike Marvel, they seem to know how to make their villains and do them extremely well.
Oh, yeah, and that's something else about Monsters, Inc. I also want to notice is the Easter eggs. This is one of the first Toy Story films that really showed me the Easter eggs. I mean, Boo's room. I think there's a Nemo doll in there, a Jessie doll, and the Luxo Jr. ball. And that's in every single Pixar film. The Pizza Planet truck shows up in almost all of them, except the first Incredibles. Don't ask me about Incredibles 2. I couldn't find it. But yeah, I love that aspect of Monsters, Inc. And just like everything it does. It is like, again, we're going to say this a lot, guys. This is a masterpiece of a film.
That does not need a sequel. I don't think it does. I think I've heard people say that it got a prequel. We'll talk about it.
And we'll get to the prequel. I actually really like it. Spoilers. But it does not need a sequel. Would I be pissed if we got a sequel? No.
Yeah. I just don't think we need one. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do we ever really need a sequel? Like, unless it's Avengers 3 and it ends on everyone dying. I mean, that's something that you're like, you kind of got to do another one. But
yeah, here's the thing. Actually, you know what? This is actually a point I'll talk more about when we get to another certain Pixar film when it comes to sequels and whether we need them or not. But Monsters Incorporated, fantastic from beginning to end. And John Goodman and Billy Crystal's Mike Wazowski and Sullivan. Yeah. Let's talk about their chemistry.
Their chemistry's great. Yeah. Did you guys know Billy Crystal was supposed to play Buzz Lightyear?
Interesting.
Really? Yeah. I did not know that. So I don't remember what happened, but for some reason it was like scheduling. And so then they called him back and they're like, "Hey, you want to be a monster?" So it's great.
Fantastic.
But their chemistry's great. Their chemistry's great. John Goodman's one of my favorite voice talents and just actor in general. He's so underrated. The fact that man does not have an Oscar nomination yet is a crime.
The fact that he didn't get nominated for 10 Cloverfield Lane is a crime.
That was a tough
Which I've seen. Sorry.
Wow. Wow. Round of applause, everyone. Give this man a round of applause.
Whenever you guys say a movie and I've seen it, I have to let everyone know. So.
Yeah, that was a huge congratulations. But I think this is something that also Pixar does great is the chemistry they put between characters that you feel on screen, that you know they are best friends. Just it's so great. But I think we should move on, guys, to 2003, and this is where we're talking about Finding Nemo.
Yes.
Another film that I didn't grow up with this one too much. I did watch it a lot, but to be honest, the beginning scared the shit out of me when I was younger, so I always fast forwarded through it. And so I didn't really appreciate this film till I was older. And wow.
Yeah,
Andrew Stanton is great.
The beginning of this movie puts me in tears pretty much every single time.
I think the beginning of every Pixar film almost puts everyone in single tears.
This is true. This is true.
But yeah, Finding Nemo is such a touching story.
Yeah.
What a touching story about a father just trying to find his son. The adventure he goes on, which again, like we said about Toy Story 2, this is one of the best adventure movies in the Pixar lineup. Like the cross ocean journey, all the different areas they go to, all the different fish they meet, the mantis, the sharks, all fish are friends, not food. What a fantastic line that people are still repeating today.
Just keep swimming. Yep.
Just keep swimming. What you gonna do? Just swim. And let me talk about my favorite character, Gil, played by Willem Dafoe.
Yep.
I love the Tank Gang. The Tank Gang is one of my favorites. People watching, if you look in one of my corners, you can actually see Peach in the right-hand corner on my right hand. I love Peach so much. I just love the Tank Gang. I think that's my favorite part of Finding Nemo. What about you guys? Talk about it.
Honestly, when it comes to Finding Nemo, for me personally, this film is definitely not underrated. I think there's a lot of great Pixar films. This one is probably top 3 for me. I love Finding Nemo. And one of the things that impresses me, because this is a film I watch every year, and I watched it at the beginning of this year, there are certain films in Pixar where I can pinpoint where the CGI or the visuals could have been tweaked up. Finding Nemo holds up incredibly well for how old it is. And the amount of emotion and heart and laughter, and this movie really hits every kind of emotion that you can hit. And like Pixar does so well, it's a film that's good for kids and adults. It reaches those emotional depths that adults will understand, that kids will appreciate as they get older. And it's got all the fun, laughter, and bright, beautiful colors. And once again, we have a buddy road trip movie with Dory and Nemo's father, Marlin. I mean, it's just great.
Buddy, like, who the fuck would ever want Dory with you? I'm joking. I love Dory, but I'm just saying, like, who else wouldn't have killed her?
Yeah. No, that's good you brought that up, Cody. You think about the plot. It's so simple. Like,
it is.
Yeah. Nemo gets lost. Marlin has to find him, and he meets people along the way. But just the way Pixar is able to make a simple plot be a masterpiece, I think it's a masterpiece. It's just fantastic. This was actually the first Pixar film I saw in theaters.
Oh, really?
Actually, the first film that made me cry ever.
Really? Was the beginning the part that made you cry, or
just like sitting? I remember the credits rolling at the end, and just like sitting back and thinking, like, wow, like I just started crying. And it's just like the whole movie as a whole, like it's just beautiful. Like
again, this is a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece.
It is.
It absolutely is.
It's crazy. Like almost all the first few films are all masterpieces.
Yeah.
So fuck, it's amazing.
I also think this is the best film with the best side characters. With Bruce, you brought up Gil, you brought up
that is true.
Crush, great characters.
That's a good argument. That's a very good argument. You could make that. Like every side character in here felt needed or felt wanted, and every person in here really made the film work. The voice talent's great. Ellen DeGeneres is Dory.
Yes.
Give her a round of applause. She got her own sequel. Come on.
She did.
Which we'll talk about. But
you know what? What about that little girl in the dentist's office?
Marla. No, what's her name? Marla? Is it Marla?
Annoying bitch. That's
Darla,
honey, you ugly. Another Easter egg in this film, just so you guys know, is they're reading an Incredibles comic in the background.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love that.
Which is funny if you consider that being.
Hey, it is. We're talking about The Incredibles, and that's actually the next film we're going to talk about because it came out the next year. Brad Bird directs this film. And Jesus Christ, The Incredibles is one of my favorite films of all time. I know some people don't love this film, but again, this is a film that I didn't appreciate till years later. Like, I remember walking out of the theaters, I was like, that was fun. But I didn't appreciate this film till I started working at this job where we constantly had movies playing, and it was like a pizza place, and every kid would always want me to switch the fucking movie. And I'm like, no, I'm working all day. I'm not putting on Fern Gully or something. I'm leaving The Incredibles on all day. You can go somewhere else. Like, The Incredibles is staying on 24/7. So for an 8-hour shift, I'd probably watch The Incredibles. Like, I'm probably seen this film like the most out of all of them, just for the or besides Toy Story, just because it was literally replaying for the 5 months that I worked there for 8 hours a day. So if you factor in that I worked there probably 20, 25 hours a week, I most likely saw this film a fuck ton. And it's amazing. I love the retro feel of it. I love the superhero feel for it. The score is one of the best scores in that film. I'm sorry, Michael Giacchino.
Yeah.
The best Pixar score.
Yes, I agree. Best Pixar score, one of the best scores ever made. The Incredibles is so incredible. At least for me, it is. The one problem I don't have with this film, and even though I still think it's a masterpiece, I do think it slows down once the kids get to the island, and that's my issue with the film. That's my one little gripe with it. But I love the villain. I loved Syndrome. I think Syndrome's one of the best Pixar villains, especially not because he's just voiced by Jason Lee, because I have a soft spot for him because he was on that show, My Name is Earl, underrated show. If you guys never watched it, check it out on Netflix. And even though it doesn't give you a right ending because they cancel it, stupid bastards. But the voice talent. Holly Hunter as the Elastigirl. Craig T. Nelson as Mr. Incredible. Jack is adorable. Samuel L. motherfucking Jackson as Frozone.
My favorite character.
Oh yeah, it's great. I can go on about The Incredibles literally all damn day.
Oh, and let's not forget that Brad Bird himself plays Edna.
Yeah.
Edna Mo, darling, you're so great. No capes. Funko Pop, if you're listening, please make a new Funko for I refuse to spend $500 on the one you guys made 10 years ago.
You know what? The Incredibles, I'll say this and I'll say it once, say it twice, say it however many times. The Incredibles, it might not be the best technically made Pixar film, but in my opinion, it is absolutely. It is absolute, which, you know, I can't complain about the technical aspects.
That lava scene is beautiful.
I'm not going to complain about the technical aspects. What I'll say is because The Incredibles, the animation in here, it still holds up today. And in all honesty, in my opinion, it is the best film that Pixar has put out so far. Well, I can't say about The Incredibles 2. I haven't seen it yet. But The Incredibles, in my opinion, story-wise, the amount of depth they go to with the characters, the animation.
This is the first film they made where it's more for adults.
Yeah, I mean, the way they put this story in here, the way they put together The Incredibles, honestly, from beginning to end, the stories of adulthood, the story of marriage, the story of betrayal, siblings, I mean, from top to bottom, my personal opinion, I think it is the best film that Pixar has ever made to date.
Yeah, it's one of their first films and only film that deals with a midlife crisis. Cody, what do you think about this?
All right, comment section, and guys, get ready.
Oh, don't
I know where he's going with this. I hope you know there's other people that are probably with you on this.
This is tied with another movie as the most overrated Pixar movie, in my personal opinion.
You should eat my asshole. I thought you were just going to say you didn't like it.
Oh, I liked it. I liked it, but I would not put it as a masterpiece. And I
Where's Ryan have it? Where's Ryan have it?
Oh, Ryan has it. Ryan's top 5 at least.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but
okay.
You know what, Cody? I'm not like gonna get super pissed off at you because there are other people who do think the same thing as you. I have friends who are like, I don't get what's the hype for the sequel. I'm like, I do, because this is like the only Pixar film that I think ever needed a sequel.
Right. And I'm excited for the sequel.
Don't get me wrong. Agree with it? Do you think this is a film that needed a sequel?
You know, I'm hoping I like the second one more. I liked Guardians 2 more than the first one. So, like, could happen for me.
My sister likes the second one more than the first one when I took her to see it. So,
let me explain myself a little bit before.
Okay, please do. So everyone, stop fucking doing the cat on the piano.
Yeah. I enjoyed this movie, but I wouldn't call it a master. I think it's a good movie. Okay, I think it takes a while to get going. I think I'm on the opposite end of you, Zach, where I think when they're all together on the island, that's when the movie gets good. I just think like when they're all fighting and all the action goes down, middle to end, great. The beginning takes a while for me to get into it personally. But I think what saves this movie for me is the score. I mean, I've played in multiple. I'm a musician for anybody that doesn't know. I played in multiple wind ensembles where we play the Incredibles theme.
It's like so good. It's so good.
The music makes this movie stand out for me so much. It's so much fun. But for me personally, I'm still excited for Incredibles 2. Don't get me wrong, but it's not one of my personal favorites.
So who's your guys' favorite Incredibles character?
Frozone for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's either sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, you're fine.
No. Okay. Well, all right. For me, it's got to be either Elastigirl because I'm just a giant fan of Holly Hunter. I love her to pieces. Or Dash. I love Dash. Yeah,
so if we're only going from this film, I'd probably go with you on Dash or Frozone. The second one made me like someone else more. So we'll get into that.
Okay. Oh, you know what? One thing that we never mentioned here. Syndrome as the villain.
Zach brought him up.
I brought up Syndrome.
Oh,
thanks for paying attention to me. I said he's like,
I'm sorry.
Damn, my heart is hurting. Wow. Guys, listening, go yell at Cody. Well, I don't know.
Which one?
You can yell at either one because one hasn't seen Star Wars and one has.
It came up.
It's okay. I had to. But he's a Fortnite player, so he's going to be the next ninja.
Yeah, I had to take a break from Fortnite to do this. So.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Hey, on a side note, I got Curtis into it.
Yeah. Oh, snap.
Yeah, no, he did get me into it.
We're going to run some squads. Let's do it.
Squad up, bitches.
You, me, and Zach. Squad up.
That's the next podcast, guys. We're going to just talk about Fortnite 24.
I'd love to be back.
The last thing before we move on to the next film, I just want to say I love how The Incredibles is not just a superhero film. It feels like a spy film.
Yes, it does.
I love that feel of it. And if you look at Brad Bird said he didn't grow up with superhero comic books. He actually grew up with spy films. So that's the perspective he took on the films. And I love it. I love that idea. But going on to 2006, we go to Cars. You guys like Cars? I don't really care to really sit on this one that much. I didn't grow up with Cars. I think it's a cute film. It's not a bad film. And no one can really bitch about it. There's nothing wrong with this film. Owen Wilson does a great job. The whole cast does a really good job of voicing everyone involved. And it's a beautifully shot film. It has a good story, a predictable story. And it is a cute film overall. It's just not one of my favorites. I didn't grow up with it. But I know there are people who, like, if you're a kid and you grew up around this time and watched it, this is probably one of your favorite films.
No, I found Cars to be I liked it when I was younger, but honestly now, I find Cars to be very, very forgettable.
Oh, I mean, I think it holds up still for me at least. I can rewatch this film and like it. The second one, we'll get into that.
No, but I can get on with you. I think it is a little forgettable, but I think this is more aimed for kids. I think that's 100%. Like the biggest problem.
And selling toys.
Yeah, right, absolutely. I mean, growing up with this movie, I think I have a little bit more appreciation, like where Zach just hasn't. I like Lightning as a character. I think he's a pretty cool character. Mater, that's another day. That's another conversation.
Mater is the best character in this film. That's why you got a sequel.
But how bad was that movie?
Okay.
Cars 2 isn't bad.
I like the score too. Life's a Highway, great song.
Oh yeah, you mean the soundtrack, not the song.
Yeah, well that too, but yes, that song in particular. Yeah.
But to be honest, I think we can move right off Cars and go to Ratatouille.
Oh yeah.
This is what I will say. This is the most underrated Pixar film. This is my third favorite Pixar film. Ratatouille is a masterpiece.
Thank you.
You know what's
masterpiece of a film.
You know what? Something tells me that another guest here with us. Yeah, something tells me that he has a different opinion and disagrees with us that it's a masterpiece.
You really?
No, I love this movie. It's in my top 5. I love this movie.
I was about to scream.
Why do you think I reviewed this on Ryan's channel?
Yeah.
Sorry, I needed this movie.
And big thing, John from the Real Talk thinks this is overrated.
Oh no!
Wait, what?
Yeah, he thinks it's overrated. So John. I know he listens to this, so fuck you, dude. But
you know what, John?
It's a film you can't watch while being hungry because even animated food makes me hungry. Michael Giacchino does the score again. Fantastic. This is just a great story. It's not predictable. It's kind of weird, and it's a totally different type of film than any other animation or any other film has ever tackled. It's rats dealing with food.
Yeah.
What makes you want to eat food after that? I don't know. Makes me want to eat, though. And Remy is just a great protagonist. Patton Oswalt voices him, and what a perfect match. Like, it's so great. Like, I know we talk about, like, other films where they get a perfect casting and stuff, but Pixar's always perfect. There's never been a time where I was like, I don't know if I could ever hear that voice and totally match up. No, they're perfect in that type of stuff. And Brad Bird directed this, too. And to be honest, I think this is a better directed film than the first Incredibles, but I still like The Incredibles more just because I grew up with that one more. But Ratatouille is so underrated, and I loved Ratatouille. But I'm gonna let our guests talk first. What do you think about Ratatouille?
I have a very special place in my heart for this movie, just from the message behind it. With Gusteau's message, anyone can cook, and I sort of relate to that in life. I didn't know if I wanted to play the trombone growing up, but then I'm like, you know what? I can do it. I want to do it. I want to practice this, and like the message behind this movie, I think, is why I love it so much. Of course, the animation's great. Remy is a top 10 character for me in Pixar. I just love him that much. It's just a beautiful movie. I mean, it's in France. It's somewhere else that we haven't seen.
The setting's beautiful.
Yeah, the setting is great. I think the score is underrated too.
Linguini is that his name? Yeah. Linguini. Yeah, he's a great little character.
Yeah,
I think people always think about the rat, and it's like, no, he has a really good arc in here as well.
Yeah, he does.
And it's just so beautiful. But Curtis, what do you think about this film?
I love Ratatouille. It's one of my
we're 3 for 3. Yay!
Yay! I'll tell you though, it's funny because when it comes to Ratatouille now as an adult seeing it, the whole love story with Linguini and what's
badass biker chick.
Yes, her. The relationship between them, while I liked it and I thought it was sweet, it's a relationship that I think I've seen in about a million other films about cooking.
It's forced. It's forced.
It's forced.
Yeah.
But it's cute. It's cute still. It's not like anything I hate.
But let me tell you, I'm just... Yeah, it makes you want to cook. It made me want to eat. And I don't think I've ever seen rats be so sanitary in my entire life. But what I'll also say is, no sponsorship or anything, but thank goodness to Blue Apron and other programs like that, because they actually give people an opportunity so we can actually have a chance to cook like this. And thank goodness, because Ratatouille sure is a masterpiece. From score to the screenplay to how the story was put together to voice acting. It was great.
Yeah, and the next film we're going to be talking about in 2008 is going to be this one's going to be, I'm curious to see where people stand.
Overrated.
Fuck you. We're going to be talking about WALL-E. I'm not going to talk about this first. If you guys watch my review on Ryan O'Toole's channel, you guys know where I stand with this film. I actually just rewatched it like 2 days ago again, just to make sure I sit on this still. So, who wants to take it away from me, and then I'll talk last?
Yeah, I'll take care of it because WALL-E is extremely overrated. WALL-E, I found it boring. I found it long. Look, it does have great characters and a good concept. I like the message. I like the characters in the film, but it went way too long trying to get its message across. It went way too long trying to build the relationship between WALL-E and Eva. And I think it's okay. Look, and I'm not going to say that WALL-E is trash. I'm not going to say it's a bad film. I'd say it's a good film. It's just the movie is just so long, and the segments that it does have that it feels
long. It feels long. I'll agree with you on that. I don't think it's too long though. It's just it feels long for the story that they're telling.
Me personally, this is one of the weaker Pixar films for me, only because
I don't
honestly, my biggest problem with it is those segments that feel long, they feel so long to me, and they just don't interest me. But the characters and the score and the message that the story had is enough for me to bump it up and say I do think it's a good film, but I do think it's a little overrated.
Okay, fine. What about you, Cody, number 2?
It sounds like Cody just said what I wanted to say. I think this is Pixar's most overrated film. I really do. I would give the slight edge to Incredibles is like there, and then right above it is WALL-E.
Really?
Oh, no, you suck.
You guys don't have a heart. This film is a romance.
Let me explain.
With some fat people in the
A romance that took 2 hours.
Let's get to that.
That feels like a half an hour longer than it should be.
Let's get to the good. Let's get to the good. The first 10 minutes, no dialogue.
Amazing.
Like
Amazing.
that.
Yeah, that was great.
The second and third half do not live up to that. It's just weird. The score's great. The chemistry between the two is great.
The plot changes.
It does, and it just kind of was weird and all over the place for me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, so I don't think this is a masterpiece at all. Like, some people hail this to be a masterpiece.
Yeah,
no,
top
it's not
five.
It's not a masterpiece. I do really like WALL-E. I've always had a soft spot for WALL-E because I just love WALL-E and Eva. I think they're both adorable characters. They both are great characters.
Yeah.
My thing with WALL-E, though, and I will even go this far to say this, I feel like this was a short film idea, and then they're like, no, we can turn this into a full plot. And it really does feel like this probably was a short film idea originally, and they turned it into a full movie. And I think as a 15-minute short, this would have been beautiful.
You know what?
WALL-E, the story would have been beautiful with WALL-E and Eva. But I will agree with you. The plot is all over the place. It totally switches up once they get to the ship, and then it like goes back to what they were doing. And it goes back to the big people and how they can't walk and how they're in these chairs. And it doesn't work.
Right.
And I get the message that they're trying to tell, but it's like way too on the nose.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I hate when films do that, when it's too on the nose. Again, this is not a bad movie. Not a bad movie.
No.
It's not a rewatchable film either, but it is a film I can pop in here and there and enjoy the story that they're telling and laugh and enjoy. I think this is more of a film again for kids too. I think this is, but it is, I think the masterpiece qualities that are there is the romance between WALL-E and Eva. Right. That is a masterpiece. No complaints there.
Yeah.
But again, I think people overlook that romance when they look at WALL-E. They just think of like the fat people and they're on the ship and it's all a bunch of robots. But people overlook that first 10 minutes. That first 10 minutes is beautiful. And I forget to mention the cockroach. Who could have known I would have loved a cockroach? First they make me like a rat, now I like a cockroach.
Why did he go on the adventure? I wish he could have went with them too.
Yeah, what the fuck? Well, he would have died in space. Well, cockroaches can't die. Cockroaches can't die, let's be honest.
I'll tell you, if they had taken the first 10 minutes of WALL-E, I agree, is masterful. If they had taken the first 10 minutes, add Eva in there, if they had put, it feels like this would be better put if it was a short before an actual Pixar film. If they took that 10 minutes and put it before a Pixar film, I feel like it would have been 10 times better. WALL-E, though, it honestly feels like you were saying, Zach, it feels like they took one of their shorts and they said, well, let's just make a full-on movie out of this little premise that we get. And because of that, the plot and the way the movie unfolds suffers because of it.
Well, and I also want to say, I think this is one of the most beautifully animated films, that they have.
Oh, absolutely.
What's up there? Yeah.
Like, the animation is stunning for this film. And the score, again, every score for these films are great. Like, I don't have one complaint with any of the scores. There are some that really stick out, like The Incredibles. I think this is one of them that also sticks out. Finding Nemo is another one. Toy Story. But yeah, WALL-E's a cute little film. But going on to number 10, people might hate me for what I'm going to say about this one. It's Up.
It's Zach. I think you and I might be on the same page with this one.
I think this film is beautifully directed. I think it is a very fun film. I think one of the best scores, again. Michael Giacchino comes back. And the first 10 minutes destroys me.
Yeah.
But my issue with this film that holds it back from being a masterpiece for me is I feel like that first 10 minutes is so emotionally wrecking, you can never hit those emotions again. It's like it started on its climax and just totally just kept going down. And not a bad thing, like a bad going down. It's an enjoyable go down. And an enjoyable adventure. But it never got back up to those stakes. And again, it's like they had a short film idea and they moved it more. Again, Up is a great movie. Yeah. I will rewatch Up. If you tell me Up's your favorite film, I will not argue with that. But I do think that first 10 minutes is so powerful that it's hard to ever get back into the film after that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let our
with you.
guest. So you're with me, but I want to hear what our
Yeah.
guest says because this might be his favorite film of all time for all I know.
That is
So-
true.
So to be fair, the first time I watched this, I was watching someone else watch it, if that makes sense. So that
were
was
you watching Ryan watch it?
No. I was watching someone on YouTube watch it. Same with
Wait,
Wally.
what?
Yeah, I know.
What
It's
the
not.
fuck?
It's not the. To anyone out there,
you-
that's not the way to watch a film. Okay, so I gave them both a chance watching it on my own, and I will say I liked Up more the first time. The second time. Because
I agree. The
first
second time helps.
Yeah, the first time he was being very critical with the movie. He was pointing out things like everywhere. This time around, I was able to capture the messages behind the story. I was able to capture the great moments of the character. Carl Fredricksen, one of my favorite Pixar characters. You think about it. He's
Yeah,
an
I
old
agree.
dude
He's amazing.
with-
He's amazing.
100%.
with no personality really, and he's amazing. Like he just what they can do with that.
And Doug's great. Doug's
Yeah.
great too.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. But I agree. The first 10 minutes of this movie are emotional and every other word that you want to put with that. It's kind of like, I think Wall-E and Up have the same structure where the beginning is so good that the rest of the movie has a lot to live up to. And for me, if I had to pick one, I would put Up just because I like the story a little more.
I would
Yeah.
too put Up. I'd put Up as well above
Yeah.
Wall-E.
Yeah. But this also is a very original film too, if you think about it.
Oh yeah, I
Very
love
original.
the adventure they go on and whatnot. It's great. I had to find my copy of it on Blu-ray next to me because I thought I lost it. But Cody, number one, tell me, what do you think about Up? Are you with me on this or?
Yeah, I am. The first, and more than that, other than the first 10 minutes, I understand why people
Who didn't cry during this film?
I cried.
Nobody is going to raise their hand to that unless they're cruel.
Or
But, no, one thing I'll say about Up, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Once again, yeah, the first 10 minutes will emotionally wreck you. Also, I enjoyed the first and two acts more than the third act. The third act of the film, I feel, is the most forgettable part of the movie. Like,
Yeah.
I love the first two acts of Up. I think it's great.
I'm
But
trying to remember.
the
Did they have, like,
last,
a plane battle sequence in this?
I think
there's a
so,
plane
but-
battle.
Okay, with the
Yeah.
dogs, right? With the
Yeah,
dogs.
yes.
Okay, yeah. See, I can barely remember. I just remember the first two acts with
Okay.
Kevin and whatnot.
and Doug and all that stuff. Like it's when we finally meet the villain of the film, and I think this was the first Pixar film where I was like, the villain was kind of subpar in my opinion. Like
I'm with
everything in the third act, everything from yeah. But I mean, from the end of the second act into the third act, I just found everything inside Up forgettable. But first and second acts, Doug, the bird, little kid, Carl Fredricksen, all the stuff, great. It's just that last act.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I want to get to the next film now because this is my favorite Pixar film. This is my favorite film, one of my favorite films of all time. Probably my second. Always switches 2 or 1.
And it's right behind you.
It is right behind me. That is Toy Story 3. This film made me cry like a bitch. I'm about to cry right now. So excuse me. I'm not even joking. I love this. I love this film. I love everything about it. It's beautifully animated. It's beautifully told. And I will get it. I want to defend something towards the end of this podcast. I want to talk about Toy Story 4 where it's coming up.
Sure.
I know some people don't want it, and we'll get into that, but I do want it. Even though this beautifully ended it. And Toy Story 3, film hits me every time because, like, even though I didn't, like, go anywhere for college, like, it still hits me because it's, like, a growing up film. And it's so fucking amazing. Like, I have no issues with this film. And it goes down to the part where, like, this is the first time where I've seen a Toy Story film or just a third film in general and said that is the best one in the series. Hands down, the best one in the series. And Toy Story 3 is just, it's beautifully written. It's funny. It's really funny. Lotso is an incredible villain.
The best.
Standout. He's up there for Pixar films. Best Toy Story villain for sure.
Absolutely.
Just his story of heartbreak. You totally get where the guy is coming from, and why. Like he's one of those villains that, like, he's not a bad guy. He's doing what he thinks is best for the toys, and that's what's beautifully told. The clown's a great new addition. All the new additions, Barbie and Ken. Who knew that would be a great addition?
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton as fucking Ken. That is a perfect match. But Toy Story 3 just, I'm gonna start crying, so someone else take it away from me because I'm gonna start crying. Not even joking. Like for people listening, like I literally am getting emotional about Toy Story 3 and how amazing I think this film is. Every toy in this, I didn't even care how old I was. I went and bought all the toys. I have a Lotso, I have the octopus, I have every single one of them. Get on my level.
All right, Cody, go right ahead.
No, I'm with you, man. This is my favorite Toy Story as well. It's just an incredible, incredible movie. It's just, I was late to this one, actually. I saw this one probably like 2 months ago because I had a period from between like 2007 and the present where like I was so busy with school and everything that I had to catch up on a lot of Pixar. I know. I've seen it. Give me that. But no, this movie is so good. Lotso is my favorite Pixar villain just because of his backstory and like you find out like why he is who he is today. I think that stands out for me. The stakes in this movie too are they got to get back to Andy. He's going to college and they want to get back. And I don't think this should have ended the Toy Story trilogy for me personally. I mean, they're making a 4. I'm excited for it, but like
No, I agree with you. And again, we will talk about that at the end because I do want to bring up that discussion because I think that is the discussion that people want to hear about, and there's people who want it and don't. So we'll leave that for the end.
Sure.
But Toy Story 3, Curtis, what do you think about this?
It's a masterpiece.
Okay, I was about to say, if you say anything bad about Yelly. My sister is not a big fan of Toy Story, and every time I tell her, fuck off. Every time. I don't care if she's my little sister. I will tell her that because I love Toy Story.
I absolutely love this movie. I mean, it's one of the best breakout heist films.
Lightyear, for people who don't know.
It's one of the best breakout heist films that's ever been made. Honestly, the whole Buzz being turned against his comrades, that's one of my favorite sequences in the entire movie. Oh, yeah, and when the whole Buzz and Jessie romance thing,
I love that. It was cute.
It was cute. And when Buzz starts speaking Spanish, I die laughing every single time.
and then at the end when Jesse's like, I figured out how to like turn the switch. That was really funny.
The ending, that intense ending in front of the fire where you're not sure if they're going to make it out of there or not. Hey, it's intense. It's funny. Dark. It's so well put together. This movie is amazing. No, I'm kidding. It is fantastic. It is one of the best Pixar films. Absolutely. I mean, I said The Incredibles, in my opinion, is the best made Pixar film, and it's my personal favorite. Toy Story 3 is right under it.
Yeah, it's so beautifully told, though. Like that's what's so beautiful about this film is how beautifully told it is. Yeah. And it's just it's amazing. I'm probably gonna watch it right after this, to be honest. Like flat out honest, I'm probably gonna watch it again. I love the aliens. They are so great. That's why for Kingdom Hearts fans, the fact that they're adding Toy Story in, I actually have a trailer reaction to the first time they announced that. If you watch my trailer reaction, you'll probably get a kick out of it because you're gonna see a 21-year-old man crying because Toy Story is showing up in Kingdom Hearts.
You know what the funny thing is? I will probably cry too because I'm playing Kingdom Hearts right now.
No,
but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, that's a different part. So, Pixar follows up with Cars 2. Worst Pixar, one of the worst Pixar films. It's shit. I don't want to talk about it. How about you guys?
No, we can. Let's just say Mater is the worst character to ever be put in a Pixar film ever.
Yep, it sucks.
But I will say, I don't own this film. I did enjoy it in the theaters, but when I walked out, I was like, yeah, it's forgettable. It's just forgettable. I think that's what it is.
So bad.
It's not a bad... Actually, I wouldn't even say it's not a bad film. It's beautifully animated. Michael Giacchino does the score. It's not memorable.
It's bad.
But the thing with this film...
It's bad, Zach. Don't be into
No, I'm trying to defend this film because... Is it for me? No, it's for kids. But I don't think it's a bad film. It's just okay.
Zach, but here's the thing. The Lion King is made for kids, and that's a masterpiece.
No, The Lion King is made for grown adults.
You know what, Zach? Toy Story is made for kids.
How many movies does this film rip off, Zach?
Cars 2?
Yeah.
Tons. But how many other films?
Honestly good. You're honestly going to defend this movie, even though it's a piece of garbage.
Yes, because it's not that big of a piece of garbage. There is worse garbage in this world. There's worse garbage in this world.
They should have focused.
Yes, I would rather watch Cars 2 than the fucking Snowman ever again.
Than the Transformers series.
I would rather watch Cars 2 over the Transformers movies. Except the first one.
They should
But
have.
that's just the truth.
They should have focused on what made the first Cars movie decent was the racing elements, and I think they learned their mistakes in the third one.
The third one, yeah, absolutely. So let's go on to number 13, Brave. This is garbage. It's not garbage. Brave is not garbage. It's just not a Pixar film. It's not a Pixar film. This is a Disney movie in the Pixar universe. Brave's cute. It has cute elements to it. I love the little bear brothers. They're beautiful. I love them. And I do think there are fun things for this, but this is I remember the first time I saw it, I don't know what the fuck I was saying. I was so tired. I literally said this is my favorite Pixar film walking out.
Oh,
and I went and saw it again, and I was like, yeah, no. I was like, I was way too tired when I saw this film. I don't know what the hell I saw. It's a forgettable film. It's cute. It's the only other Pixar film I do not own.
I mean, for you guys who are listening, I may have come off a bit harsh. I don't completely despise Brave. Honestly, I think Brave is a much better movie than Cars 2. But my biggest problem is when it comes to this film, I feel the first act, like before all the magical and supernatural, before all that stuff happened, when it was just Merida trying to prove that she was better than her family.
Merida's a great character too.
Yes, I'm with you on that.
The first act. If the rest of Brave had been like the first act, I feel this film would have been a masterpiece. I feel the first act is very masterful. The second and third act, though, although yes, the three brothers are cute, but
I wish I could be a bear.
It's just forgettable. The second and third act I thought was a little choppily put together, and it was just boring to me.
You're choppy.
Oh, I know.
Okay, so now we get to 2013 and Monster University comes out.
Wait,
I'm so sorry. I thought he didn't want to talk about it. He didn't stop.
No, but to be fair though, I feel like Cody has my note cards. I legit wrote Merida, great character, lazy second, third act. The animation's top notch though. I love the animation.
Damn it, Cody! You steal Cody's note cards.
Yeah, like legit. Yeah. That's exactly what I have written on my note card. So basically,
do you have anything else to add, Ben? I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say the animation looks really good, though.
Yeah, the animation does look good. I like all the magical stuff, like when she's going through the forest with the witch. Great stuff. And have you ever heard the Pixar theory? Have you guys ever looked into the Pixar theory and how they all connect?
No, but I should.
No,
Jeez.
After this, I totally recommend you guys looking this up. And they always add after a new film comes out. But so Brave, how they say Brave connects is that Brave takes place takes place after Monsters Inc. Or it takes place after something, and that Boo went through one of the old doors and got stuck there and became the old witch lady. Because in the background there is carvings that she made of Sully.
Really?
Yep. It's really cool. You have to watch. You actually have to read it, and when you read it, it makes total sense. Like it's so creepy. So I totally recommend doing that. And then if you guys read it, make sure to comment down below. And Cody, make sure to bring it up with me because I want to talk about it with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that after this. That sounds interesting.
It's really cool. It's called the Pixar theory, I think.
Okay.
But going into 2013, now we can finally move on to the college party that we've always wanted, Monsters University. I like this film. Yeah. Not as good as the first Monsters Inc. Not even close.
Definitely not.
But it is a fun comedy that I didn't know I wanted, but I wanted it. I liked it. It looks like Cody's shaking his head, so I think we should start with him.
Oh no, this is way at the bottom for me, guys. Way at the bottom.
Really?
This it's not the worst. It's just at the bottom. This is
so what's better, The Incredibles or this?
Oh, The Incredibles for sure. But this was just not funny to me. Just not funny. No.
Really? I think it's cute.
Kind of pointless.
Really? Can I add on? I will say, to make this film more emotional, do you know how you should have ended this film?
How?
It should have ended on Boo, on Sully and Mike telling a story to Boo as she goes to her first college day.
That would have been, that would have been cool.
I think that would have made everyone cry.
Yeah.
And it would have added more to it. But I think that's the one thing they missed out on.
This is just like the one question that I have for you guys that I think about this film. It's like the only point of this movie for me personally is just showing how Mike and Sully met. But other than that, there's no other point.
Yeah, but that's the only reason. But I like seeing them get to know each other.
You know, I actually kind of disagree with that.
Okay, argue it. I'll be the ref. I'll sit back.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say about Monsters University. Look, I don't think it's one of the best Pixar films. I think it's in the middle ground. I think it's a good film. I don't think it's a great one. But what I do appreciate that Monsters University did, yes, we got the introduction to Mike and Sully, and we saw how they were opposing forces coming together. But we also saw the genesis of everything that we were going to get when it comes to Monsters Incorporated. Like, number one, we saw how Randall was going to become the villain inside of Monsters Incorporated. And then we also got to see the eventual, everybody that we'd grown to love in Monsters Incorporated. We got to see them younger. We got to see the genesis of how everything we were going to love inside of Monsters University. We got to see how it was going to be. Got to see how these particular monsters were going to get started out with the company. So ultimately, it's a story of not only Mike and Sully, but it's a story of how we got everything that we love about Monsters Incorporated. It's an origin story, essentially.
I can get behind that a little bit.
We didn't need, but I enjoy. I like this film a lot. I think there's a lot of good elements. I love all the new monsters they added. I love that they join a fraternity. I think that's just funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, is this like a masterpiece? No. Is it an enjoyable film? Yeah. Will I rewatch this film? Kinda. Yeah. Sometimes I'm in the mood to get some college partying, and then I don't want to watch like some porno. That like Monsters University fits that mark for me. But I will say 2015, the next film we're talking about, is the film that I think brought Pixar back after kind of a slew of just okay films. Inside Out is one of my favorite Pixar films. If not, it's in my top 5, maybe top 6.
Top 5 for me.
Top 5,
Inside
definitely.
Out, yeah, top 5.
Beautifully told story. Not gonna lie, I kind of want a sequel to see the new emotions that she's gonna develop. But if we never get one, that's fine. I think this is Pete Docter's best film, or one of at least his second one. Because did he do Coco?
No, that was Leon Courage.
Never mind. Then this is Pete Docter's best film. I love Inside Out. Anger is my favorite, with a slight nod that Disgust might be the other one. The voice talent is beautiful. But dear God, I have to bring up Bing Bong. I cried. Yes. I cried so.
I'm pretty.
Oh God, because I think everyone's had an friend, right? Everyone's had an imaginary friend. In one point of their life, they've had some sort of imaginary friend.
Sure.
And recognizing, like, for me, that, like, when I recognized that, like, when I saw that film, I looked back and I was like, oh wow, yeah, I did have one, and I don't even know where he went. And I think everyone's had that, where you just eventually stop having them, no matter what age it is, like 4 or 5, younger. And it is beautifully told in that aspect. It's so emotional. I cried there. I cried when her and her family, like the whole thing when she leaves and she just starts forgetting everything. It is such a beautifully told story, beautifully vibrant, probably the best animated film I think they've had to date, with the colors and everything in it. But that Bing Bong thing, I think, Jesus Christ, that wrecks me every single time I watch film. It's hard for me to rewatch it because of that.
Yeah, no.
I don't know who wants to
thoughts. Cody. Yeah, I'll let our guest go.
All right, so for me, this is the most unique and original film I've ever seen in my entire life. Think about it. That is such a creative idea for a movie. Like, that is how I would never think to make a movie like that, and then of course Pixar is the one to do it.
That's why we don't get paid the big bucks.
You're right. No, it is so creative. And for me, this and another movie balances humor, story, characters, and emotion perfectly. Like, everything.
This is a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece.
Oh, it is. No question about it. No question.
This was actually my first review I ever did too.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. It's just a perfect blend of everything you want in a Pixar film, along with the dark. Like, there's some dark moments in this movie too. If you think about it, extremely dark moments. Funny, really funny movie too. Might I add? Really, really funny. It's top 5 for me easily.
It's so damn good. But
Yeah.
Curtis, tell me, what do you think about this masterpiece Inside Out? Do you agree with? Oh, the score! Can't forget about the score.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
nope.
yeah.
Gotta always bring him up.
Yep,
Oh boy, except Cars 2.
Yep, you absolutely do.
Okay,
Thank you, San Francisco. You ruined pizza.
Yeah.
Anger's so good.
Lewis Black as Anger is great.
Perfect
Honestly,
voice casting.
yeah, no, I love Inside Out. It is a masterpiece. Top 5 definitely
Would
for
you say
sure.
you
And
loved it?
Yes,
I did love
Yeah.
it. I love Inside Out. When it comes to this film, the thing I like about it is it's not just so creative and well put together. The fact is, it's a movie that explores puberty in a very, very creative way.
Yep.
Like the changing of emotions, the whole deal with what Riley's going through, moving from one place to another, all the emotions, the interaction we get between joy and sadness. I mean, the contrast that we get with those two and then the eventual relationship that they build is just so well put together. And yes, bing bong, every single time that happens, I cry. Whenever Riley's remembering where her parents and her came from when she's in school, whenever she runs away, all these scenes either make me choke up or cry. And that comes from really well put together emotion, really, really well put together story structure. And oh, jeez, I think I'm gonna cry thinking about this.
Yeah.
This movie.
So
that final scene. Yeah.
who wants me to ruin this film?
I mean, I'll listen, but I'll
gosh.
probably.
I'm sorry. I want a sequel. That's when she's older.
I think it would be a cool idea. I'm with you. I would like a sequel.
See, I do want. I think one of her. What if one of her like graduating college?
Ooh.
That would be
whatever they do,
interesting.
if she's older, and I think if they brought in some new emotions, I'd like to see that.
I think you could honestly easily have a trilogy of these. One of her, because she was what, in, like junior high, elementary school in the first
like
one.
middle
Junior
school.
high. Junior high.
Yeah.
The second one you could do high school senior graduating.
Yep.
The third one you could have her graduating college and going forth into the real world. And I think that if you do it perfectly to like where people were growing up with that, it would hit a lot of feelings because a lot of people could relate to that. Because for all I know, say they do this like 10 years later, because Pixar is known to do that. They'll do it, and then it'll work perfectly because it'll be like, oh, hey, like now the kids who grew up with this film are now graduating college. So there's a lot of good aspects to Inside Out. And that same year, The Good Dinosaur came out, which I think is, I'm sorry, this is their most beautiful looking film. This is like not in like animate like the colors, but the animation, it looks like it's real life.
It does.
So I don't really care to talk about this film that much. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it's fine. It's another one of those that I feel like they were making the film. They're like, we just have to get it out.
Honestly, when it comes to The Good Dinosaur, yes, most beautiful animation. Another thing I'll say about The Good Dinosaur is I think it is Pixar's, I think it's their most forgettable film because I don't hear anybody ever talk about this.
Interesting.
Honestly, most forgettable. The Good Dinosaur is not a bad movie. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying as far as dude, yes, it is. It's atrocious.
Okay, well, you're
atrocious. Yeah, right back at you, buddy. Nah, wow. I love you, Zach. I love you. All right,
I retired. I cleaned up shit, and I shit myself. So, The Good Dinosaur is just fine. It's just.
I mean, it's just forgettable. And Cody, what do you think of it?
So I watched this for the first time last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is pretty fresh in my head, and I will say that I cried.
Oh no, in the beginning?
Yeah. No, the end.
Really? Wow.
When Spot finds his new family, and the moment that got me was when, you know, that scene in the middle where they have that sequence when they're showing their families with the sticks and the circle.
Best scene.
Oh, that got me. And then Arlo puts a circle around the whole. Oh man, that was perfect. It was perfect.
I think this film in a couple years will actually be looked back as the most underrated. One of the underrated.
It's up there as underrated.
Because I think it is a good film. I've only seen it twice.
Yep.
For me, the first time I saw it, I really liked it, and then the second time I watched it, it didn't stick with me. But I do think the characters in here are great. I just think a lot of people forget that this is a Pixar film because it came out the same year as Inside Out, and Inside Out was amazing.
Yeah, I think for me, the only reasons why it's going to be lower on people's lists is because there's so many great Pixar movies.
No, and that is true.
I will bring up one more thing, though, with The Good Dinosaur, and you guys may or may not agree with me. This movie rips off a lot of movies.
Oh,
I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, there's some Lion King in there with the death of Arlo's father.
Yeah.
Just the whole water. Yeah. And then I think I saw a little Finding Nemo in here, too, with the 3 T-Rexes. Like, kind of reminded me of, like, Bruce and those. Yeah. I don't know. They helped. I don't know. But besides that.
Yeah. Again, it's like their most forgettable because people forget this is a Pixar film.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the animation is stunning. But with the next year, we actually have another sequel, and that is Finding Dory.
Yes.
I want someone else to bring this up first because I want to hear your guys' thoughts first. So we'll let our guest talk. Open it up. What's your favorite thing about? Do you like Finding Dory?
So Finding Nemo, of course, has like really high standards. So going into this, I was like, all right, I'm excited for it. I mean, I think because it took so long to make this movie, I don't think they wanted to make another movie.
I think this was a cash grab.
This was Ellen DeGeneres wanting to do it. I think she's been wanting a sequel for a long time.
And she's great in the role.
Oh, fantastic. But I think for what we got, this is just like, if you could find like an average movie, I think this is it for me. I think this is just like an average movie with great animation, cool new characters.
Hank the Octopus, though. Hank the Octopus. Awesome. Best character in the film. I think the thing I'll give Finding Dory, though, is because I'm pretty much on the same route with you. I think it's all right. Yeah. I don't think it's anything super special. I think there are really cool moments to it. Really nice characters that we got added to. A little disappointed that we didn't get Tank Gang as one of the main characters, given they're at the end of the credits or whatever. But I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of them. My thing with Finding Dory, though, is that even though we have some great new characters, the whale, Hank the Octopus, I think is stunning. His animation is incredible. The film's beautiful looking. My issue and my one big thing, not even an issue, but the thing I give Finding Dory, big props that they didn't make Dory annoying. Yeah, that they were able to switch her to a main character because I believed in her story. I got emotionally wrapped into her story, and Dory as a baby is adorable.
Yes,
yeah,
for sure.
So, Curtis, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Finding Dory is just okay.
It's fun. It's enjoyable.
It's fun. It's enjoyable. One thing I had a good theater experience with it. What I'll say is I had a lot of fun watching it in the movie theater, but
when you bring it home, it doesn't hold up.
No, it definitely does not. I'll say it's still fun and enjoyable, but very forgettable at times and very boring at times for me. But the last act, the chase on the highway, the truck chase sequence.
Oh my God. I forgot about this.
Yeah, me too. I haven't seen it in a while.
This is the most illogical thing Pixar's ever put into a film.
I know.
I'm sorry, but I remember when I saw that in the theater. It's fun, but when I saw it in the theater, it took me out. It's like I hate that movie, Secret Life of Pets. I think that's so overrated, and like the whole car chase sequence, that was like right out of there, and I was like not on board with it.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
I think it's fun. The sea otters are adorable. Do not get me wrong. And what's the guy's name? Oh, my sister loves it. Kevin.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yep.
My sister thinks that's the best part of this film. I agree. So,
no.
But 2017 brings us another 2 Pixar films, and that comes to Cars 3. Cody just watched it for the first time, and I'm going to let you start off again because I want to hear your guys. Bring it up. What
I did, yeah. I watched it this morning, like hours ago before we started this podcast, so I can officially say I've watched all the Pixar movies, and I think this is the best Cars movie, personally. I think the side characters are great. I think they learn from their mistakes.
Cruz is a great character.
Yeah, for sure. I think they learn from their mistakes in Cars 2. They focused on Lightning, put Mater. Not a lot of Mater in this movie.
Mater's barely in it.
Yeah, which I think was a good idea.
I love how they didn't address the second one.
Yeah,
for
me, it's a little predictable though. Lightning becoming the mentor to Cruz, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. I don't know if it's better than the first one for me. I think it's like very close.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one's not like holding high standards for me, so it's not like. But Cars 3 is a fun film. There's some good aspects to it. Yeah, it's predictable, but it's fun. It's enjoyable. Yeah. It's heartwarming. I'll say that. My heart gets warm watching this film, and I really do like it. The score's good again. The soundtrack's great. The characters are good. I love Cruz's addition, and I think that monster or the dirt rally scene is totally a bunch of fun.
That's fun.
Total
That's
fun.
Yeah.
Now, Cody has a very blank face on his face right now. I feel like he's about to shit on this film or say he likes it. So, what are your thoughts?
I think the movie's okay.
Okay, we're moving on. All right.
No, honestly though, I think the movie's okay. Like, I just think the movie is average. Like, average across the board. Except for the animation. The animation is fantastic.
If they make a fourth one, I won't go see it. I'm sorry, but like, you don't need a fourth one. There's no need. It ended it perfectly.
And let's put this into perspective. We got 2 sequels to Cars before we got a sequels to The Incredibles.
Yep.
We'll get into that in a second. So the 19th Pixar film comes out, and again, this is a masterpiece for me. I think it's one of their best films. Coco.
I mean, heck, we made a whole video talking about how Coco was different and how it was special and how it breaks ground, not just in Pixar, but in film in general.
So I remember this Pixar film. So the first night it came out, I actually closed, and I was so disappointed. So I actually went that night at 10 o'clock at night to go see it. I went back the next morning and saw it again.
Yeah.
I was so in love with the film. I was literally engrossed. The musical aspects. I listen to the music in here, and I'm not a huge musical guy. So like the fact that I'm listening to the music in my car, like driving to work, is a huge thing. But the story they tell is amazing. Like it's one of my favorite stories that Pixar's ever told. The world they brought us into, beautiful colors, voice talent, and just hitting a culture that not many films have touched on is something great. I mean, when you hear that Pixar's doing a film of Day of the Dead, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. And then it comes out, and I'm like, damn.
They did it.
Yeah, they did it. So I'm going to let Curtis start this time. So go on your thoughts on it, and then we're going to let our guest talk about it, because I know you love this film, Cody.
It's my favorite Pixar film.
What?
It's my favorite.
Are you serious?
Okay.
Never mind. Serious.
You start.
This is my favorite Pixar film. No questions asked, and I will tell you why. When I said Inside Out, perfect blend of humor, characters, story, emotions, and just animation. This is this movie. It has everything you want in a Pixar movie. This might even be my favorite animated movie of all time. It's that good. I've seen it 4 or 5 times. I've cried every single time.
What part gets you?
Oh, I mean, when she's singing when Miguel's singing to Coco, yeah. Oh my goodness, man! I love this movie. I think it's the best looking animated film in Pixar's ever put out. Just the colors, like you mentioned, the story. I could go on forever and ever. So I could be here for hours. But because it's my favorite Pixar film. It really is. I have no problem.
Favorite animated film of all time too?
No, it's top 5 for sure. I wouldn't say best. I mean, there's.
I'm curious. What's your favorite anime? Oh, yeah, Lion King.
Lion King, Iron Giant. You can just go on. Yeah,
that's funny. Lion King isn't in my top 10 animated films.
Wow,
I love it. I just do the animation's my favorite thing. So there's a bunch of anime in there. There's a bunch of. So it's tough.
That's a really hard list for me to do, though. Top 10 animated films, but it will definitely be in the top 10. Coco's.
Yeah, I know, and I know some people do think it's overrated. Which this is the one film I'm like, how do you not like this film?
Yeah,
at least like it. You know what I mean? Like I said, like I find enjoyment in Cars 2. I totally get why people shit on it, but I don't understand in one way where someone can say I hate Coco. I think it's a horrible film.
Yeah,
like if you tell me it's overrated, maybe I can understand your point of view. But if you tell me you hate this film, I don't get it. I don't get it. But Cody Curtis, what do you think? Like, is this like the film?
I mean, Zach, I'm pretty sure you know my opinion on Coco.
Yeah, but no one. These other people might not. So I want you to tell it.
I don't. I better hear good things.
No, I love Coco. It's somewhere between top 5 and top 6 for me. I absolutely love Coco. I mean, the way that Pixar just unashamedly went after and studied a different culture, studied fingerings for guitar, studied everything about Mexican culture to bring us an authentic film to that culture, and allowed us to not only journey with the characters, to feel for the characters, but as I already said, break ground in film and animation. I mean, I love bringing it up to the fact that Zach and I did a spoiler talk of the film, and the only thing we really talked about was the fact of how special the film is. Every aspect that made it special, every aspect that makes it so unique, and what makes it the next film to push the film industry forward to make a great change. I love this film.
It's incredible.
I did not see the twist coming.
Really, I did. That's the one predictable aspect for me, but I'm not even going to get mad about it. But like I said, this was an incredible film, and going in, the next film is The Incredibles 2. So I'm just going to, I have seen it. My review is up on my channel. You guys can find it. And I like it more than the first one.
Wow, that's good to hear.
That's after sitting on it for a couple days. Given I've rewatched the first one so many times, so I do need to rewatch the second one more to see if it really is that good. But after sitting on it for like a week or so now, I will say I think it's better than the first one.
Okay, is it top 10, top 5 Pixar films?
Again, I have to rewatch it. Again, I can say it's better than the first one, but the first one's like nostalgic for me. So that's why like the first one's still up there for me higher. But the second one, the animation's better, 100%. But
the trailers look great, yeah.
Yeah, but it still feels like it's just taking place right after, because the film literally picks up right after the first one.
Okay.
Action sequences are better. There's 2 action sequences in particular where I don't know how they animated it, but it is amazing. The only part I do not like is the villain.
Okay.
Not a bad villain. Not a bad villain. Just very okay-ish compared to Syndrome. Like, when I compare him to Syndrome, it was like totally like Syndrome's the better one, but still like a decent villain. That's like the only thing I can part. But my favorite Incredibles 2 character, or my favorite Incredibles character now, is Jack Jack.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Jack stole the film. That's all I'm going to leave it there. Okay. Go see it. And there is no end credit scene. There is no end credit scene. So do not wait for the. Do not wait, because I waited.
I waited. Okay.
So, you know what?
So I want to hear both your guys' thoughts. So Cody, go about it.
I'm gonna say this. Okay. There's one thing that makes me angry about Incredibles 2, and it's something to do with. It's not to do with the movie. It's to do with Pixar. It's like I said before. We got 2 sequels to Cars before we got an Incredibles sequel.
I actually want to defend this.
I mean, I can understand. Look, it makes me angry, but I'm not angry without understanding.
Okay,
because
so let me defend that really fast.
The entire creative team.
I need to defend this, Cody. Listen to me.
I know.
14 years, I thought I'd be pissed. It was totally worth the wait. And the video they showed before us with Brad Bird talking about it, it's his control. He's in control. So it's his decision. So that's his thing. He knew what idea he wanted to do. But again, instead of rushing it, he said the ideas he had were more of short film ideas. Just like they had with, like, say, WALL-E. And he said he needed to figure out a way to make it a full-length film. And the way he did it was perfect. That's what I'll say. I get it. Cars, that's just cash grab. That's just a cash grab. The other 2 films are just cash grabs or toys and stuff. And I get it. 14 years is way too long, but if I have to wait another 14 years for a sequel that's just this good, I'm fine with it.
Okay. I'm not angry anymore.
Please don't be. I thought you were going to turn into the Hulk for a second.
No, okay.
You need some Viagra. Well, the Hulk did in Avengers 3.
Wait, what?
Logan to Hulk.
Yes. But are you guys excited for The Incredibles 2?
I'll let you finish what you were going to say, Cody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And double yes.
So what are you guys most looking forward to really fast? What are both of you guys looking forward to the most?
Let's start with our guest.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm excited for it. I mean, you guys know my thoughts on the first Incredibles. That doesn't mean I'm not excited for this movie. I think what I'm most looking forward to is just the whole from the trailers, what I've seen in the trailers. Elastigirl's going away, and Mr. Incredibles is going to be alone with the kids. From what it just seems, I mean, it could be completely different. I'm looking forward to seeing how that sort of vibe is going to go. Yeah, I mean, Jack seems to have more powers and all that too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to do. But yeah, I think that stands out for me. The whole story, how's it going to pan out?
Yeah, that's actually something I really appreciate about the film is that even though, like I said in the first one, when they went back home, it was more the slower moments.
Yeah.
Both parts, I was like, okay, I want to see this. I want to see that. I wanted to see everything. It was definitely very much engaging and smile on my face the whole time. Now, good. Curtis, tell us, are you like, what are you most looking forward to?
Everything. Everything. Look, I already said that as far as The Incredibles is concerned, it's my all-time favorite Pixar film. And what they're going to do with this, I'm just really, really curious to see how it plays out, because the dynamic between the family and what they did with the whole superhero aspect and everything that they had with the first one, it was so gold that I really, really can't wait to see what they're going to do. I mean, Brett, voice cast, everybody from the original is coming back with some new additions. Yeah. They're all going to be great. And I can't wait. Honestly, I really can't wait to see where they're going to take this. And the runtime, it's about 2 hours long. I think that's
flies by. Doesn't even feel like 2 hours. It's insane. And again, I said the short is adorable. The short is adorable.
Like I said, I really can't wait. I don't want to say I'm looking forward to one particular thing, because I'm such a big fan of the original Incredibles that I can't wait for everything they're going to do with Incredibles 2.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to hear you guys' thoughts on The Incredibles 2 and everyone else's. Again, I wanted to put one more thing out. The score is better in this one than the first one. So I'll leave it there.
Wow.
The last thing I do want to get to, though, before we end this podcast, that I want to talk about Toy Story 4. I said I'd bring it up, and I said I want to defend why I think it's fine for them to make another Toy Story film. So obviously we've seen them do these little short animation things, like 30-minute things for Toy Story, and they're adorable. They're great. I love all of them. My thing with Toy Story 4, though, is that when they announced it, I was just like everyone else. Why? If you read on the details of how they came up with the idea to do Toy Story 4, it sells me. They said for years, they joked around with another sequel idea, and they kept joking around with it, and they kept joking around with it, and got to the point where they're like, well, we should just make it. It's 3 years later. We're still talking about the same idea. We have the whole full outline. Let's just do it. And for people who don't know, it is a romantic comedy. They said this is not starting a new trilogy. I don't even know if this takes place before 3. This might actually take place before 3.
Really?
It's rumored that I don't know 100%. I'm assuming it's probably going to take place after 3. But from what I understood, they were actually talking about it taking place before 3, like right before it. Now, I think they did change that. And I think it is going to be right after 3, a couple of years later, and I think I think it's perfect to do it that way.
Yeah,
but it for people who don't know, it's about Woody trying to find Bo Peep.
And
I love that idea. It's a cute, adorable idea, and the thing about this film is that I'm glad that I'm glad that they address. We're not doing it like a trilogy. Like, we want to make another one, we will make another one. But I think this is their most cherished franchise. I don't think they would make another one unless they wanted to.
Yeah.
And I mean, if they were going to, they would have made one right after 3. Let's be honest. They would have made one right after 3 and capitalized on that. But 4, that concept and just returning to these characters is everything I want. So, do you guys have any last thoughts on Toy Story 4 coming up?
I'm interested. I am one of those people where when it ended with Toy Story 3, I was like, that's perfect. But they're coming out with a Toy Story 4. It's been almost 10 years.
Yeah.
It's been almost 10 years. So I'm interested, to say the very least. I'm interested to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think for me, when we all saw Toy Story 3, we're like, all right, that's a perfect ending. No need to do anything else. But if they have another story to tell, I'm definitely interested. I'm not gonna. If you were asking me, I don't think we need another one. But if they have more to tell, then I'm definitely interested. If they're going along finding Bo Peep, that should be pretty interesting. I just assumed it would be, I don't know the young girl's name who has the toys now.
Bonnie.
Right, thank you, Bonnie. I just figured like she would be grown up and something would happen. I think it'd just be
I think it's cute with what they're doing. So other than that, guys, I think this is a good place to where to end the podcast. We've been talking a lot of Disney and animated Pixar stuff, and yeah, this was a fun podcast. We got to talk the highs, some of the lows. We kind of skipped over a lot of them because really Pixar has a bunch of highs. They're a bunch of masterpieces, and this was a great thing. Of course, we had a fantastic guest with us, Cody O'Toole.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was a ton of fun. I mean, yeah, you guys can find me on my brother's channel, editing his videos. But yeah, definitely go check that out. We made a game show, Rotten or Fresh. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. Definitely go check that out. I'm on Twitter. You can find me at Cody_O'Toole. Talk about Pixar. I'm definitely going to be talking about Incredibles 2 after I see that. I'll probably put my Pixar ranking on there too after seeing it. So.
Are you seeing it opening night with Ryan?
I'm seeing it tomorrow night. Yep.
Super that makes excited. Me happy. That makes me happy. Well, thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
No problem. We'll have to have you back on it. Maybe we'll have to do a original Disney podcast, talk like Lion King, Robin Hood, all those. That'd be fun. We should do it. We should do it. Now, Cody, where can they find you, of course?
Of course, guys. Besides, here with Zach on the Sweet Film Podcast, you guys can find me at Cody Curtis. Just go to YouTube, go to the search bar, search that up. You can also find me on my social media on Instagram and Twitter if you just search _Cody_Curtis. And yeah, I'm always here with Zach thinking of ideas, coming up with projects, and we got some stuff coming your guys' way, and we're really excited about it.
Absolutely. So thanks for plugging all that, guys. Make sure to go over and like and subscribe to all these people. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on my channel. Make sure to rate this podcast. Tell us what your guys' favorite Pixar films are. That's what's the most important thing is, guys. I want to hear about that. What are your guys' thoughts on Pixar? What's your favorite Pixar film? And man, there's so much more Pixar discussions we could have done. So we'll have to do another one very much soon. Incredibles 2 comes out this weekend. Make sure to go see it and tell me what you guys thought of it. So until next time, guys, you guys all have a sweet life and stay classy.